Welcome back to another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show, your beginner-friendly guide to saving in Bitcoin. We are here on our 2-year anniversary for the show. We've been doing this show for 2 years. We started this show on May 22nd, 2023, 2 years ago exactly to the day. And we've been saving in Bitcoin ever since. We started with doing $5 savings per day. And then we moved on to $10 per day. And then we kept going. Now we're doing $20 a day, Monday through Friday here on the show. We're talking about Bitcoin, letting you know what the price is, all the information. If you're new to Bitcoin, please ask any questions. Welcome to Ask Any Questions. Round of applause from the live studio audience for Carl Black in the house. Carl Black, thanks for tuning in on YouTube. Also, round of applause for Alyssa, Helio, for Low Key Caught, for Sunghoons, for Ragman, for Kyrie, and for Martha. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. We're styling. Oh, Carlos Jaramillo in the house. Carlos Jaramillo, local legend to the show. Oh, perfect. Sorry, this TikTok is giving me some prompts while it's going. Guys, and if you're watching on TikTok, feel free to put any questions in the chat. I'll cover your questions as we go. And if you want to watch the screen where I'm actually presenting stuff to the screen, you got to watch that on YouTube. It's you can get there by going to stackbitcoinshow.com, and you'll see what the stuff I'm displaying on the screen. All right. That said, that's the intro. Today we're going to cover lots of stuff. We're going to cover of course, the 2-year anniversary for the show. The fact that today is Pizza Day, Bitcoin Pizza Day. We're gonna cover what Bitcoin Pizza Day is and how that came about. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the new Bitcoin all-time high of $111,000. $111,000 Bitcoin. That's crazy, right? All right. So let's get cracking. Let's start on the first segment of the show. The first segment of the show, of course, is the Bitcoin strength. What can we buy today? What is the price of Bitcoin today? The price of Bitcoin is $111,045.96. You can buy 900 Satoshis for a single dollar. You might ask yourself, what the heck is a Satoshi? A Satoshi is a fraction of a Bitcoin. Just like a dollar is made up of 100 cents, a Bitcoin is made up of 100 million Satoshis. Okay? So when you look at the Bitcoin price and you see it at $111,000, don't think to yourself, damn, I missed it. I'm too late. No, you didn't miss it. You're not too late. You don't have to buy a Bitcoin all at once. You don't have to save up to buy a Bitcoin. You save in Bitcoin. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. It has a low barrier to entry. You don't need to save up hundreds or even thousands of dollars to get started. You can start with as little as $1, $10, $100, $1,000, whatever you feel comfortable with, right? And that value that you set aside and put into Bitcoin immediately takes on the properties of having a whole Bitcoin, right? And what property is that? What is the one property we care about the most on this show? Is that value that you set aside into Bitcoin is now shielded from inflation, right? The inflationary process won't be able to steal your purchasing power anymore because it's outside the grasp of money expansion, okay? Remember, inflation is theft. And what is inflation? Inflation is the expansion of the money supply. And when the money supply expands, the purchasing power of each individual dollar goes down. And so you need more and more dollars to buy the same stuff in the future, okay? And unless you're getting a pay raise of about 10% year over year at your job, you're actually starting to fall behind just even on your salary, right? It's not even keeping up with the real rate of inflation. Anyway, let's keep the show rolling. Let's say you're walking down the street minding your own business. You look down, you see a penny, you pick it up, and all the day that penny could buy you today, 9 Satoshis exactly, 9.01 Satoshis, 9 fractions of a Bitcoin, right? So if you think of Bitcoin in terms of fractions of a Bitcoin, it's not expensive at all, right? And again, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin to enjoy the benefits of owning some Bitcoin. As you'll see today later on the show, I'll show you guys all of our stack and what we're buying so far and where we're at as far as where we started and where we're at now as far as the value of our savings growing. Okay. All right. So let's get into, let's go back to the main screen and shout out Koji Monster in the house. What up, Koji? Thanks for tuning in. Also, Hard Huddle in the house. Thanks for tuning in, Hard Huddle. I hope you guys are having a good day. Today, again, is the anniversary of the show. This is our second year running and chilling. Windfinder FPV in the house. What up, dude? Good to see you in here. Round of applause from the live studio audience. Also for Christopher and Leslie and Dog and 208 Fiv 5 Fiv 5. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. All right. If you guys want to watch the stuff I'm throwing up on the screen, go over to stackbitcoinshow.com and watch us on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the screens that I'm talking about when I'm referring to things. Okay. Or you can just hang out here on TikTok. That's fine too. Let's get the show rolling. Okay, so for 2 years, we've been saving in Bitcoin. It's been crazy. And before we get into showing the stuff that we've been doing for the past 2 years, let's talk about why we would even someone consider saving into Bitcoin in the Why We Stack segment. Why we stack. Super simple. Okay, straightforward. We're going to keep this one a little bit short because we have a lot of stuff to cover. But why do we save in Bitcoin? Because, as I said earlier, think of the money supply as a big pizza. Okay? That pizza represents the value that the dollar represents. Okay? So the dollars in existence represent the value that's in this pizza. Okay? Each pizza slice is considered $1. Okay? In this imaginary world, let's say that the pizza is only, I don't know, $100. There's only 100 slices in this pizza. Okay? If Carl in the chat owns $50 and I own $50, we both own each 50% of the money supply. We both have 50% of the purchasing power in the economy, okay, in this made-up world. Now, I'm the government, and I want to have more money than Carl, and I want to make sure Carl works harder and harder for the stuff he buys every day, his rent, his car payment, his food. So what I do is I inflate the money supply. Instead of having $100 now, I create another $100 because I have access to the money printer. And now I don't give Carl 50 of those new $100. I leave Carl with his $50, and now I have $150. Okay? And you might be thinking, whatever, Carl still has $50. Who cares, right? Carl still has $50. He doesn't know that he got debased because in his bank account, it still shows $50. He still thinks he has 50% of the purchasing power of the economy. But what I did there was, by increasing the money supply by another $100, now the split is no longer 50-50. The split is now 75 for me and 25 for him. So he only owns 25% of the economy now, and I own 75% of the economy. I stole half of his purchasing power by increasing the money supply. Okay? And that very basic example is exactly what the government is doing to us every single day when you save in dollar, because the money printers keep printing and the money supply keeps expanding. And as that money supply keeps expanding, it's a continuous debasement of your savings as long as they're in dollar. How do you fight that? You take the value of your savings and you move those into Bitcoin. And now it doesn't matter how many dollars they print. Your savings are outside the dollar system where they cannot be debased. Your savings start to grow against the dollar as far as purchasing power, right? Because you still have your, if Carl, when you first had the 50 bucks, took those 50 bucks out of the money system and I continue to debase him, it wouldn't matter because his 50 bucks are still are outside the system now, and it would cost me still 50% of the new money to buy Carl's old 50%. So Carl has the 50 bucks. He buys $50 worth of Bitcoin when the money was only $100. Okay. Now that Bitcoin is worth, of course, whatever, 50 bucks. Okay. I expand the money supply, and that Bitcoin is still going to be worth 50% of the money supply. So when the money supply expands, when I expand the money supply, Carl's Bitcoin still costs 50% of the money supply, whatever the money supply happens to be. In this case, since I doubled it, Carl's Bitcoin now costs $100, right? So he doesn't get debased, even though I tried to debase him via the inflation process. It's pretty awesome, right? Anyway, to give you a short version of why we should be saving in Bitcoin, let me tell you this. Okay, we save in Bitcoin because saving in Bitcoin is like traveling back in time and giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you've already worked for as long as you hold a Bitcoin that represents those hours. Okay, it's a very dense statement to understand the first time you hear it. I say it every episode so that you can take the time to think about it, analyze it, and once you start to understand that, you realize the real power of saving in Bitcoin. All right. Oops, what? What? A rim shot is missing. What? My gong is there. What am I missing here? Air horn? I'm missing my air horn. All right. Anyway, that is why we stack. A round of applause from the live studio audience for Pipeline Podcast tuning in over on YouTube. Also, a round of applause for Thomas, for Yexiel, for TikTok Dan, for Jonathan, for Ray, welcome, for Ming, welcome, and Harrison, welcome, dude. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the broadcast. All right, we've done the Bitcoin strength. We've done the why we stack segment. And the next order of business is, of course, the stack recap, because we don't only talk about stacking Bitcoin here Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. We actually do it. We talk the talk, but we also walk the walk. Let's see. If you want to see the spreadsheet as I'm showing it here on the screen, guys, just go tune in on YouTube. Go to any browser and type in stackbitcoinshow.com, and it'll take you to our broadcast on YouTube. That way you'll be able to see the screens that I'm putting up where I'm talking about all these numbers, okay? Or you can just hang out on TikTok and listen to what I'm saying and just take my word for it, okay? Here we go. Putting it up on the screen. Back in the beginning of 2025, Bitcoin was at 94,000, right? And it dropped all the way down to 76,000. And now we're all the way back up to 111,000, 110,000 right now, right? Well, since the beginning of 2025, we've set aside about $3,620 here on the show to save into Bitcoin. And that has grown about 21% so far, okay? You can see that on the screen. I have a spreadsheet tracking every single buy that we've done here on the show. I track each individual year. And I also track the whole lifespan of the show, so like the full 2 years. Okay, all right. So our stack for 2025 is up about 25% in profits. Okay, what does that mean? It means that the 0.3978026 Bitcoin that we bought for $3,620 so far is currently worth about $4,413. Okay, so our savings grew just in the past 5 months, 6 months, about 21%. Okay, in 2024 we tracked those purchases individually, and in 2024 we had those purchases. We bought $7,345 worth of Bitcoin, and that gave us 0.122422217 Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin today is worth about $13,581 for a gain of $84 just in that year. That's crazy. All right. And then finally, since the beginning of the show back on May 22nd, 2023, 2 years ago exactly, for Bitcoin Pizza Day, we started this show where I told myself, you know what? I'm going to make a show where I document the process of hopefully me getting to 1 Bitcoin. And so I can share the process and the idea of simply stacking in Bitcoin the money that you would spend on a coffee every day, right? Yeah, now we're doing $20 instead of $5, but hey, some I guess you could find a $20 coffee. Let me know where the $20 coffees are at and what it's made of. Maybe it has some gold flakes in there or something. But anyway, we're doing $20 minimum now, but still, the idea is the same. We're showing the process of growing your savings, okay, and then multiplying your savings just by holding it in Bitcoin. So your first order of business is, to figure out that, you need to save, okay? So you cut out all the stuff you don't need to be spending on. You figure out ways to save. You cut out services that you don't need, right? And then you take that value that you're reacquiring for yourself, and you don't just hold it in cash. You don't just put it in your savings account, because when you do that, remember, the dollar is constantly debasing you, so you're losing purchasing power by holding the dollars, okay? So what you do is you put it in Bitcoin, and you hold it in Bitcoin for a minimum of 4 years. I know it sounds like a long time, right? But maybe even 2 years, you'll be okay. We've been holding Bitcoin for 2 years. We've so far we've set aside $14,429 over the span of 2 years. That's about $7,000 a year, okay? And with that savings, since it's being held in Bitcoin and it's immune from inflation, from 2 years of inflation, the value of that Bitcoin is now 29,877. So the purchasing power of our savings has gone up 107%, right? And that's those are the numbers on the screen. You can tune in and see them over at stackbitcoinshow.com or on YouTube right now, also streaming there. I don't know how to do the stream overlay on this app, but maybe we'll figure it out someday. But if you want to see the screens that I'm talking about, I'm showing that on the screen over on YouTube. Okay. But you can stick around here too. It's fine. All right. So why is that important? Well, it's important because think about the effort it would take you to earn an additional $15,000 over the past 2 years, right? I haven't done anything. To grow my savings of $14,000 to $29,000, except for have that value stored in Bitcoin and away from the inflationary dollar. Okay. It's crazy. Once you start seeing it and start understanding what it is. Okay. All right. So today's a special day for 2 reasons. Of course, the first reason is that it is officially Bitcoin Pizza Day. What is Bitcoin Pizza Day? For those of you that are new to Bitcoin Pizza Day and don't understand what it is, maybe it's your first cycle. You just vaguely know the story of the guy who paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. Okay. This is in the time when Bitcoin had no monetary value. And even though nowadays you can look back and be like, man, that guy was a moron because he paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. He wasn't necessarily doing it. He actually did us a favor by creating the first real transaction with Bitcoin, right? By him spending those 10,000 Bitcoin on a pizza or on 2 pizzas, he gave Bitcoin its first initial price, right? However much the pizzas cost, right? So divided by 10,000 Bitcoin would give you the cost per Bitcoin back in the day, which would be like the first real transaction that used Bitcoin. And in so doing, they set the first price of Bitcoin, right? So let's try to just guess what it would be today if something like that happened today, right? So 10,000 Bitcoin. No, sorry, it would be like we'll say that a pizza right now for 2 pizzas, we'll say it costs you $40 delivered. Okay, $40 delivered, and you paid with 10,000 Bitcoin. So that's 40 divided by 10,000, right? So each Bitcoin back in the day, if we did that same experiment today, each Bitcoin would be worth 4/1000th of a penny. So $0.004 for a Bitcoin, which is pretty crazy, right? But that transaction is celebrated by people that know what Bitcoin is, people that understand Bitcoin, because that was the first time that Bitcoin was used as a means to like money, right? And it's the guy gets made fun of, but the guy's a freaking hero, dude. So it's pretty cool. His name was Laszlo Hanyecz maybe, and he paid 10,000 Bitcoins for a couple of pizzas. That's pretty cool. 10,000 Bitcoins today. 10,000. If you had 10,000 Bitcoins today, you'd be way more than set, right? 10,000 Bitcoin times 100 times $111,000. Damn. You'd be a one. Was that thousand million billion 1.1 trillion dollars? Damn, that's a lot of money. Anyway, crazy times. But yeah, that is Bitcoin Pizza Day. So when you hear about the Bitcoin Pizza Day story, you might hear about it today. Don't hate on the guy that bought that pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin. He's the guy that started the whole. He's the guy that did the first transaction that made it so that you could set the first price of Bitcoin, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Hard Huddle says that's some exotic coffee if it's costing you $20. I remember the day I was ant mining BTC back then. Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. The same guy that sold Bitcoin for that bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. He's also the guy that helped take Bitcoin mining from CPU mining to GPU mining, right? So he helped usher in like the whole GPU mining craze when you could do that on Bitcoin back before ASICs took over. It's pretty cool. Anyway, it's a really cool interesting post, and just it's part of the Bitcoin history, you know. So it's pretty cool. I don't see the. Is that how? Does it mention how Finney? Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't mention Hal Finney in this article. I think the guy that actually bought the pizzas for him. I think Laszlo put up a post in a forum for Bitcoin. And he said like anybody that can send me 2 pizzas, any way you can, I'll pay you 10,000 Bitcoin. And nobody took him up on it. A couple days later, somebody took him up on it. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Who was his name? I'll read it to you real quick. He posted, I'll pay 10,000 Bitcoin for a couple of pizzas, like maybe 2 large, so I have some left over for the next day. I like having leftover pizza to nibble on later. You can you can make the pizza yourself and bring it to my house or order it for me from a delivery place. But what I'm aiming for is getting food delivered in exchange for Bitcoins, where I don't have to order or prepare it myself. Kind of like ordering a breakfast platter at a hotel or something. They just bring you something to eat and you're happy. I like things like onions, peppers, sausage, mushrooms, tomatoes, pepperoni, etc. Just standard stuff, no weird fish toppings or anything like that. I also like regular cheese pizzas, which may be cheaper to prepare or otherwise acquire. If you are interested, please let me know and we can work out a deal. Thanks, Laszlo. That's awesome. That's the original post. That's the original post for Bitcoin Pizza Day. That's wild. Here it is. The person that responded to him was a guy named Jeremy Straudviant. Accepted the offer, and he basically ordered 2 pizzas from Papa John, paid Papa John's, and they delivered it to this guy Laszlo's house, and then he got his 10,000 Bitcoin. That's awesome. That's wild. And I don't even know if he still has his Bitcoins or not, but who knows? Anyway, that's a little quick story. That's the little Bitcoin Pizza Day story. It's pretty good, right? And what happened to my music over here? Let me throw on some background music here, guys. There it is. All right, so let's get back on topic here. We covered the 2-year anniversary. Today, I decided that to celebrate today's 2-year anniversary of the show, instead of doing a $20 stack that we usually do on days like today when the price of Bitcoin is above our average buy price for 2025, we're gonna do a double stack. We're gonna do a $40 day instead of a $20 day. You know what? Originally I was thinking of doing a $200 day, but let's do a double stack because I'm also gonna start on TikTok, and I'm gonna update the spreadsheet here so you guys can see it too if you're watching on YouTube. But on TikTok, there's a very popular method of saving money. It's called the 100 envelopes challenge. Okay, and you've probably seen it trending on TikTok. Okay, the 100 envelope challenge is a great idea because it incentivizes you to gamify saving, which is great, and it builds a habit of saving over 100 days, which is also great. The only issue is that you're saving in this stuff. You're saving in melting ice cubes. Okay, so if you save in Bitcoin and you save, if you save in dollars and you save for those 3 months that it takes you to save those $5,000, by the time you get to those 3 months, maybe the purchasing power of the $5,000 you saved is not even $5,000 anymore, right? So what we're gonna do here on the show is today, starting today, after this live stream, I'm gonna jump on TikTok. I'm gonna buy my first purchase of my 100 days of saving in Bitcoin. Okay, and what is that? How does that work? Well, I have a spreadsheet. I'll put it up here on the screen. So if you're watching, you can see from last time we did this. I have a spreadsheet. It's numbered 1 through 100, and you basically buy as much Bitcoin as that number is for that day. So on day 1, you buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. On day 13, you buy $13 worth of Bitcoin, and you buy Bitcoin every day for 100 days, no skipping. But you can buy them out of order. So you can buy day 100 if you're flush with cash. You can buy day 1 when you're struggling to make it to your next paycheck, right? But the idea here is that no matter what, you buy one day, you buy one line of your 100 days of saving, and you can't double up on some days. You can't skip a day. Okay, so you can't go and buy days 1, 2, 3 and not save tomorrow and the next day. No, you have to buy one day at a time, and you can't skip a day, but you can buy them out of order. Okay, that is the plan for the 100 days of Bitcoin savings challenge. It's kind of like getting close to Q3, so maybe we'll just call it Q3 2025. I have my spreadsheet set up already. If you want to jump in on this savings challenge, I'm gonna make it available for you guys to also use the spreadsheet. You can take it as a template and start saving for 100 days straight. Okay, it's a fun way to do it, right? Maybe if you don't want to do $5,000 of Bitcoin, maybe you can have everything and do like 50 cents for like for day 1 you do 50 cents, for day 2 you do whatever the equivalent, right? $1, and then you do like on day 3 you do $1.50, right? But still, the point is, we got a counter, we got the total savings we have so far, and if you follow the challenge as it is, you'll have a good chunk of change, right? And maybe $5,000 is not significant to you, but maybe it is, right? Maybe $5,000 means that you're gonna get the car that you need for your job, right? But how do you save? This way. It's easier to save this way. Okay. Yes, sometimes it might go against us, and the value of our savings will go down. But as long as we don't sell while we're down, it'll come back up and we'll be in profit. Okay. We did this experiment back in 2024 Q2, and we saved $5,100 via this method, 100 days of saving in Bitcoin. And those $5,000 today are worth $8,400. Okay, so it makes sense. Okay, if I would have just had saved the cash in envelopes, not only would I have the security issue of having those a binder full of cash lying around, but it's kind of like, it's like who has cash lying around besides my prop money, Anyway, okay, let's keep the show rolling. That is the plan to restart the 100 days of saving in Bitcoin on TikTok, and we'll still account for it here on the show, so we'll start making references to it daily here on the show. Okay, guys? All right, so that's what we have. I think that's it. And the show keeps going on. Last time it was fun. Yeah, last time it was fun. A little bit challenging, Carlos. It's crazy. I don't know if this time I'm gonna start with the low numbers, right? If you start with the low, anyway, it's a strategy thing too. It's a strategy thing too. Okay, so that is basically the stack recap. Let's go back and just go to the 2025 tab real quick and see and confirm that today our average buy price in 2025 is $93,000 Bitcoin, and the current price of Bitcoin is $110,000. It's actually on a little bit of a dip, so I'm happy to be stacking right now instead of at 112, right? So let's do the buy. Now that we know how much Bitcoin we're gonna buy $40 worth of Bitcoin today. We're gonna do a double stack to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of the show. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe, hit that like, guys. It's much appreciated. I watched the algorithm results after the video, and the little hearts you guys put on the side, the little 100%, they make a huge difference in the interaction. So please continue to do that if you've been doing that. If you haven't, consider doing it, and it helps the show grow. So help us get to 500 subscribers here on YouTube. Okay, before TikTok catches up. TikTok is doing pretty good. TikTok is much more discoverable, it feels like. Okay, it's much more discoverable. Frankly speaking, in the house, dude, shout out. I see you in the TikTok stream. You've been in here for a pretty good amount of time. I appreciate you being here. If you have any questions, dude, put it in the chat. I'm happy to help. Okay, happy to help. Okay, so that said, let's close this music down a little bit. And now that we know how much Bitcoin we're gonna buy, there's only one thing left to do. It's time to stack some Bitcoin, baby. Let me bust out my phone. For this part, the people in TikTok can see it. You'll be able to see the purchase that I'm about to do. Open up the Strike app. You guys see over there? Oh, let me go to full screen over here. A lot of stuff to manage, guys. A lot of stuff to manage. Full screen. Here we go. We're gonna buy $40 worth of Bitcoin. I hit the buy button. I press, oops. I key in 40. $40 worth of Bitcoin right now. We're gonna buy that on the Stack Bitcoin show. We go next. And we're at the confirmation page. At the confirmation page, to cut the music. Hit the drum roll, please. Buying $40 worth of Bitcoin right now for the Stack Bitcoin show live on TikTok and YouTube. There it is. And just like that, we've accumulated an additional 35,655 Satoshis to the stack. 0.0003565 Bitcoin has been added to the Satoshis stack. Let's go into the spreadsheet right now and add the purchase. All right. Let's do the browser here. Today is 5/22/25. The price of Bitcoin we deserve today is $111,120.46 Bitcoin. We bought $40 worth, and the yield is 0.0003566. Oh, sorry, 35655. There it is. The Satoshis have been acquired, and slow and steady, guys. That's how it goes. That's how it works. We continue to buy Bitcoin, continue to acquire it, continue to save in Bitcoin. Let's do this. Let's finish this, the data here on the spreadsheet, guys, real quick. Then we'll tell you our final tally, our full amount of Bitcoin that we have so far for the show. When we look at the full sheet, What's up, user 607, Noah, Hermes, Sue, Mikey, Denver. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, do put it in the chat. I'm here to help you understand why it's a good idea to start saving in Bitcoin. Why is this one negative? Why is that one negative? It's interesting. I have to fix that one. This one says, let's see, it should be positive. There it goes. I think I just had the formula copied wrong. All right. So with that said, the final tally for the show so far, including today's purchase, is 0.37293,878 Bitcoin for a total US value right now of the savings we've done in Bitcoin so far of $41,374.91. Ding. You can't mess with that. That is a significant amount of moolah right there. All right. Jose Ramirez in the house. What up? This guy with 10,000 Bitcoins likely sold them when it hit $3 and bought a car. Probably, Jose. That's very true. Let's do something crazy. I'm going to Amazon Juggle next Friday. Oh, you're going to wait, what? Carlos Aramillo is going to the Amazon jungle next Friday. I can send you some sats from the middle of nowhere, if I find a signal. Let's go. That would be awesome. Carlos, this is my Lightning address. It goes to my Strike wallet. If you send a donation, we'll memorialize the donation in our donation spreadsheet here on the show. A special place. We'll put a special note here. We'll say Carlos Dono from the Amazon. Carlos Dono from the Amazon via satellite link. That's wild. That's very cool. Very cool. All right, boys. That is pretty much the show. I'm going to go into the Q&A section of the show. And shout out to Frank Perez in the chat. Shout out to Storymont. What's up, Story? We're going to see you in here. DGK. Welcome, guys. I hope you guys, if you have any questions about Bitcoin, put it in the chat. I'm happy to help. We're doing this show Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. I've been doing this show on YouTube for over 2 years now. Exactly 2 years, actually. And I'm going to continue to do it on YouTube, but I'm also going to live stream it here to TikTok. What's up, Sarah? Thanks for tuning in. If you guys want to continue to watch on TikTok, we can. If you want to watch on YouTube, you can do that too. Either case, I think this message is worth it, guys. The message of saving in Bitcoin is worth it because it's life-changing. It's life-changing to be able to have a way to save the value of your work without getting debased. And just as easy as the value of my savings grew 107% so far, so too could the value of your savings, right? Imagine having your groceries, your rent, your house payment, your mortgage, your your insurance go down in price by about 75%, 100%. Well, would it be 100%? I guess eventually, right? But 75%. Which chat is more active, YouTube or TikTok? I think YouTube is more active, Hard Hodl. But TikTok has got a constant stream of people coming through, cycling through. I see people jumping in and jumping out. So, Jennifer, what's up? Welcome to the stream. We're talking about Bitcoin here, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, keeping it super basic, beginner friendly, Bitcoin only. We save in Bitcoin to avoid the rip off that is inflation. And when we do that, the value of our savings increase over time. We've been doing it here for 2 years. Just look at the screen. It's right there in black and white. We been saving since May 22nd, 2023, Bitcoin Pizza Day. So far, we've saved over 2 years of dollar cost averaging Monday through Friday. We've saved $14,496, and those savings have grown to $29,916. They've grown by about $15,000, $16,000. Okay, they've grown by that much. They've doubled. Okay, doubled. Our savings have doubled, and we didn't have to do anything extra as far as like extra work or go and become a real estate developer or like a stockbroker or like any kind of high-powered thing. We just basically did our normal job that I do every day, my regular job. Take a little bit of that income, set it aside into Bitcoin, and just let it sit there, right? Well, not at the exchange. We actually take custody of it. We'll talk about that maybe later next week. But we take custody of that Bitcoin, and then we sit on it. We hold it. And because the dollar continues to expand and the purchasing power of the dollar continues to go down, in the future, you're going to need more and more of those weaker dollars to buy the same amount of Bitcoin. So the price of your Bitcoin is going to go up relative to a dollar. It's just math. I just paid some bills through the Fold app, trying to increase my SPM sats per minute as much as possible. Hard Hodl, that's a great point you bring up. I've been going through issue after issue with the Fold app because I had a Fold card, I got rid of it, and then I decided to go back on there, but for some reason my account got mixed up with them, and it was just all kinds of weird. Like my phone number was bound to my old account and had a bunch of issues back and forth. Finally, I think all the issues are resolved, so I'll be able to do more Fold app stuff. Yeah, I've used it for gift cards, and it's pretty cool. You basically you earn additional sats and stuff by just using the app, and the little spin the thing every morning is kind of addicting too. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, maybe we'll make some videos about that for the regular channel without having to have like a live. We'll just do regular videos on that. That'll be pretty interesting. All right, so I'm gonna bring up on the screen over on YouTube. I have my Q&A section up, and yeah, that's a good day of streaming today, guys. I'm super stoked, super happy to have everybody in here, and that has been on the journey for the past 2 years with me. And I'm also happy to welcome newcomers to the stream. Okay, just because you see the profits that we've already hit so far after 2 years, don't think that you missed it. Okay, don't think, oh man, these guys have been doing it for 2 years. Okay, that's what we thought. That's what I thought 2 years ago, right? 3 years ago. When you see guys that have been stacking Bitcoin since Bitcoin was like $100 a coin, $1,000 a coin, $5,000 a coin, right? You're like, damn, those guys are lucky. No, they're not lucky. They just decided to do it, right? And who knows where Bitcoin will be 2 years from now, right? Who knows where Bitcoin will be 2 years from now? And the people that are starting then are gonna have the same question and say like, man, did I miss out? Like, these guys were buying Bitcoin 4 years ago when it was at $27,000. Like, they're lucky. No, we're not lucky. We just looked at the facts and realized that if you're not saving in Bitcoin, you're losing. You're losing. Okay? All right. So let's wrap the show up with, of course, the exit track. You guys will recognize it soon enough. That's all I got for you guys today on this episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in today on the 2-year anniversary. We'll be back here tomorrow, of course, for another episode. Buying Bitcoin, sharing the knowledge, trying to help people understand, and of course, helping them avoid the pitfalls of getting started, avoiding the poop coins, avoiding the yield products, avoiding the NFTs, the ETFs, and all that's trash. Buy Bitcoin, take custody of that Bitcoin, and live your life. All right? I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. But until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. Later, guys. All right. All right. So that is the show for